What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew? This is Ballhawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
All right, well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host, once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today, Lions Talk Live. You know, we got a Thursday show edition, which means Kurt Steele, the man, the myth, the legend himself, will be joining us at the bottom of the hour. As you could probably tell from the thumbnail from this video, and I'm sure if you're any kind of Lions fan and you were checking news or whatever, the highlights yesterday, you saw Jameson Williams, even though he was vomiting, even though he wasn't feeling the greatest, even though he wasn't maybe at his top peak, he was taking the top off of the Detroit Lions defense, making defensive backs maybe regret signing and playing for the Lions. But whatever it is, they're probably happy they don't have to face him in the regular season or the postseason, because you know what? This kid has stepped his game up, and you're hearing it from multiple sources, not just myself, but you're hearing it from a lot of other people. And you might even notice within the thumbnail, we've got a Lions insider source who said, hey, he didn't just look good yesterday. He looked dang good yesterday. And again, not at 100%. His speed is something you can't teach. If you watch this show for any length of time, if you've either seen me coach or report or scout or whatever, hey, first thing I do when I go out and scout players for different leagues or whatever, first thing I look for is, are you a genetic freak? Do you have things a coach cannot teach? No matter how much time they invest in you, do you have things that a coach can't teach, can't replicate, etc.? What does Jameson Williams have? Without a shadow of a doubt that nobody can teach, the dude's got speed, and he's got hellacious speed. That speed is going to be on full display for the season as the Detroit Lions offense. We all have question marks. What are you going to do to replace Josh Reynolds? I think Jameson Williams is not going to be the guy to replace Josh Reynolds. He's just going to be Jameson Williams, the guy we saw emerge last year as the season progressed and then into the playoffs. What did you see the last couple of games of the regular season and then the postseason? Virtually every time he stepped on the field, you had at least two guys shadow him around. Bracket coverage, guy underneath, over the top. Teams were aware of what he was becoming, and it sounds like this training camp, he's made another jump forward. So we're going to do a quick video on that. We're going to break down that after we get through a couple of the other topics for the day. And, of course, I'm sure Kurt Steele and myself will jump into it. All right, but if you're not new to the show, you already know what's coming, so let's dive into it. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that push to 7,100 subs, and we're about 70-something away from that, 70 subs away from that. Also, it's free of charge, takes half a second of time. If you would be so willing, hit that thumbs up or like button. Helps the channel out a lot, helps it grow, helps other people find the content. So if you can do that, we try to get every video between 200 to 300 subs or more, a thumbs up or likes or more. Last but never least, outside of being a everyday YouTuber, a scout, a coach, etc., I am a realtor. So if you're looking to buy or sell property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, you can give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. Got a new property I'm going to be listing here in Detour Village. That's up in the Upper Peninsula, right next to Drummond Island, here in about a week or so. So if you want, reach out to me. If you're not in the state of Michigan, you can still contact me. Just a couple things we got to do a little differently. But go ahead, give me a call, shoot me a text, and we'll see what we can do to help you out. All right, next topic of the day is the 5 headlines now. So what we'd like to do is go into some other topics that aren't the main topic of the day regarding the Detroit Lions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get over to 5 headlines now. All right, 5 headlines now. You know what? We've got some good news for the Detroit Lions. But, hey, Lions activate 7 players, including outside linebacker, Marcus Davenport. So this news came out yesterday. I didn't want to do a breaking news video or anything like that on it. Kept it for the morning show, but I'm sure some of you guys are already aware of it. Hey, we talked about when the pub list came out the very first day of training camp. In my opinion, it was phenomenal news for the Detroit Lions. I know there are some people that came out and said, whether it's in national media or whatever, this was bad news. Man, these guys must still be beat up, whatever. I had a different approach on it. If you really felt you were the Detroit Lions coaching staff or its representation and felt any of these guys were going to be long-term developmental recovery players, you're probably going to put them on a different list. But the fact that virtually everybody other than one guy is back that was placed on that list at the start of the week spoke to me that, hey, these guys were probably pretty dang close to returning. As you can see, here, let me pull it up. As you can see, Brian Branch back. Davenport, as we already mentioned, back. Carlton Davis, good to go. Giovanni Manu, we've been wondering what the injury was, and it's still not clear what it is. It's just something that happened towards the end of rookie training camp, or OTAs. So whatever it wasn't that severe. Just need a little time to recover. Donovan Peoples-Jones, good to go. Amik Robertson, good to go. And Traquan Smith, all back. So the only person left out on this list is DJ Reader. And we have been talking all week long about this guy. We know he's going to be a huge impact for the team, but I think the team is also aware of his situation. He is a little bit older. What he's gone through is not a small recovery process. While all reports seem to be that Reader is fully recovered, the issue is now getting his conditioning back, getting that lower body strength back, not just in the legs, but in the hips and the flexors. I mean, I could bring Jen in and she could walk you through about a 4-day video about all the different muscle groups and flexibility issues that she would have him working on to help him recover. But I won't have you guys go through all that. That's not what this channel is about. All right, next, Detroit Lions have created a giant podium for Dan Campbell to stand behind. Sports Illustrated, story by Kyle Coast. So what he's talking about in this one is that Dan Campbell has become a bit of a brand. He has become synonymous with being the Detroit Lions. And what he's done in turning this franchise around, it's not just him. We all get it. Sheila Ford Hamp needs a lot of credit. Spielman, Brad Holmes, the coaches, the players, everybody in the organization. What this story dives into, though, is what Dan Campbell has created and the presence he now brings every time he steps up in front of that mic versus where he was when he started the job. All right, veteran left tackle, hopeful about contract talks with Detroit Lions. M Live and Ben Raven, Nevermore. Raven has put together another good story. We all know all the extensions the Lions have given out this year, and there's probably more coming at some point, especially with the amount of free money they currently have. One of the teams with the most amount of cap and the best talent is the Detroit Lions. Could it be that the Lions actually do look to re-sign Taylor Decker during the season, give him a 1-2 year extension or something like that? It is possible. And you know what? Raven dives into this. So if you're looking for something to read today, go ahead and check that out. All right, coming off a historic season, Lions fans are more excited than ever. This is from Fox 7 over in Detroit. If you are not familiar with Detroit broadcasting, Fox 7's been around an incredibly long time. And you know what? They're always all over the Detroit Lions. They put together specials, training camp specials, preseason specials, yada, yada, yada. They do a nice video bit on it. So if you want to look for something to listen to or watch while you're doing whatever today, go ahead and check that one out. And then the last of the 5 headlines now. Priority number 1 for the Detroit Lions at start of training camp, ? Avoid complacency. This is from the Detroit Free Press, story by Jared Ramsey. And I couldn't agree more. We all believe the Detroit Lions have acquired the right talent, the right mindsets, the right personality traits with the players they've brought into the organization to put out there to say, hey, these guys are not going to lose focus. But you also know they're human. They also know that this team overall is incredibly young. So is it possible they might need a swift kick in the butt from time to time? They keep them all focused on the where to go? I do think so. I also believe if you watch Netflix's show Receiver, you do hear Amon-Ra St. Brown say openly the first time they played the Bears, he thinks the team kind of overlooked him. And they followed that up just days later, kind of overlooking the Green Bay Packers, who, as he alludes to, had a multitude of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Perhaps they didn't prepare as much as they could. That's on the coaching staff as well as the players. And you know what? Hopefully they learn from that moment. All right, moving on to the next one now. It is not 5 headlines now, just some real quick news and notes from the NFC North. So let's get into it. got a real good disco tech beat there, don't it? All right. All right. NFC North North watch. See, Packers wide receiver Jalen Reed coming off non-football injury list. Good news if you're a Packers fan. Bad news if you're a Lions. I like the kid. I think he's got some real potential coming up. All right. Teammates, coaches impressed with Bears rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. Hey, we've all talked about it throughout, the entire offseason. What my thoughts of Caleb Williams are, being a USC fan. I also think a story like this, really, what do you expect coaches and teammates to say? You want to go, man, the guy can't progress through reads, or he can't do this or that. I don't know what the truth is. Maybe he's having a good camp, but it's something to pay attention to. Let's be very honest. The Bears' opportunity to contend in the NFC North is going to be directly correlated to how well they protect Caleb Williams and how quickly he develops and progresses through reads, the offense, and adjusting to the NFL. So something to pay attention to. All right, last of the notes here. Minnesota Vikings cornerback Mekhi Blackman, a top candidate for the starting nickel back spot, tore his ACL in opening practice, lost for the season. Bad news if you're a Vikings fan. We all get there in a little bit of a rebuild mode. This is not going to help that matter. He is a pretty good young cornerback, in my opinion. I don't know if he was going to win a starting spot, but he was definitely in the running for it. And now, it's just a next man up mentality for the Minnesota Vikings. All right, with all that said and done out of the way, let's go ahead and get over to the main topic of the day. All right, we were talking about at the start of the show, and now let's dive on into it before we got about 18 minutes or so until Kurt the Hitman Steele gets on over here. But Jameson Williams, you guys have heard me talk about why I like James Houston so much. You can't teach what that dude does. What he does is less than 0.5% of what humanity can do. The fact that he can bend, drop, keep his balance, and have that kind of speed is just crazy. Giovanni Manu, Broderick Martin, same kind of scenario, different sides of the ball, I get it. But they are so athletic, so powerful, so strong, so big. You cannot replicate that by just coaching alone. You either have that kind of stuff or you don't. That's why I think the Lions are taking some big swings with some of these guys. But if they hit it, if they really believe in their coaching staff, if they really believe in the kid, the player, the mentality, the interpersonality of that person to drive through and learn what they don't know, then you've got just a massive weapon. We've all been talking about Jameson Williams since the day he was drafted, how fast he was, how explosive, playmaker, all these other things. Yes, his rookie season was a total loss, basically, in my opinion, other than they got a little bit of stuff at the end of the season. I mean, they got something out of that season, but not a great deal because they knew when they drafted him, he's coming back from an ACL tear. They were going to take their time with it. But think back to the very first game he got on the field. I mean, you could see the speed and the impact he brings, how he changes defenses. And last year, in my opinion, really in earnest, his rookie year, the first half of the year, a lot of fans were on him. This kid's a bust. He can't do this. He can't do that. He started blocking, though, and run blocking, I mean, when I say this. And then, you know what? He got a little bit better with some of his in and out routes. He got a little bit better with coming out of breaks, comeback routes, his foot placement, his elbow use on those placements when he makes cuts, his location of the ball, his timing with Goff got better. Over the course of the year, he got noticeably better from the start of the year to the middle of the year to the end of the year throughout the playoffs. And my anticipation is this kid's going to make another jump. We got a little bit of video. I know most of you guys have already seen this, but let's jump on over to it right now for those who haven't. I ain't going to bore you all day with that video, but Jameson Williams, it looks to me like he's got 2 or 3 yards of separation on 2 different defensive backs. Whoever was playing the single high safety, it appears in that formation. I can't tell you for certain it was. And then whoever was the cornerback who was probably in press coverage, that Jameson beat off the line and then takes off down the sidelines on basically a deep post pattern. He creates separation on both guys. So the guy jamming him at the line, he dusts. The other guy in single high, who's probably 10 yards further back, he not only catches up to, but blows past. So is it one highlight play? There's a reason why they shared that video, because you know what? Everybody sees it. But what that does once or twice a game, man, it takes the top off the defense. Like the insider said, to me, I guess it would have been early this morning, you're going to put so much stress on opposing defenses. What can you do? If you're going to commit 2 guys to Jameson Williams all the time, how many guys are left on the field to deal with everybody else? If you're going to have 3 or 4 guys consistently go after Goff, how many guys now have to cover St. Brown, Laporta, gosh, I don't know, Khalif Raymond, Gibbs, Montgomery, whoever swings out of the backfield? You know, why we've talked about a lot of times on Lions Talk Live, why I think Khalif Raymond will ultimately be your number 3. If Jameson Williams is doing that to defenses, you know, and you want speed out there because, you know what, somebody's got to guard somebody and somebody has to keep up with somebody. Khalif Raymond, along with Jameson Williams, along with Sam Laporta, who is incredibly athletic for a tight end. Gibbs, you know, flexes out into the slot or just maybe runs a wheel route from the backfield out. You're going to put a whole lot of guys in running around, chasing, scrambling mode. And you know what? That means somebody's probably going to break free and have a hard time getting help from another defender to help cover the guy who just broke free. All right, that's my thoughts on the day. You've heard me talk about it. We got about 14 minutes until Kurt Steele gets here, so let's go ahead and hop on over to the Duke Crew, see what you guys have to say about all the topics so far. Let's get into it. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. J-Mo is way more fast. Yes, he is. I see Super Bowl. Woo! And yes, he is way more fast. I like that one, Kurt. And just for you, way more fast. All right. Frank the Tank, good morning, Duke Crew. Woo! Good morning, Tank. How you doing? Mike the Marine Gunny, howdy, Dan and Duke Crew. Love this show and most of the family. Laughing out loud. Woo, woo! Go Lions, all the above. We got a great family here. We got a great morning crew here. So, hey, hopefully everybody's enjoying the show. Frank the Tank, all we need to relax about J-Mo, he made a big play in shorts. Once again, I believe Williams will have a big year. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there. What's it going to be a big year? Is it going to be 25 touchdowns in the first quarter against the Rams? Probably not. But could he have a 10 or 12 touchdown type season? Could he have 1,000-ish yards? Let me ask you all right now, if Jameson Williams has 1,000 yards receiving and anywhere around 10 touchdowns, are you happy with that? To me, I got to imagine, assuming how much this ball is going to get distributed to multiple different options, that's a pretty good season. All right, Mike the Marine Gunny, is Reader still the only person left on the pub NFI list, ? And the rest are working too slowly? Yeah, he's the only guy that I'm aware of, at least, back still on the list. And I'm going to guess, like we've said since the moment we signed him, I don't think he touches the field until maybe a week or two before the regular season game. I don't think he's playing in any preseason games. But as far as workout and conditioning stuff, I think he's mostly going to be on the sidelines with trainers, getting that strength back, getting the conditioning back, the flexibility back, all that stuff. And then, again, a week or two before the Rams game. All right, Clark Griswold, what do you got? Woo! Good morning, everyone. I seen the video of J-Mo going J-Wow upfield for the score, and people say Goff can't throw the deep ball, ? That thing was pinpoint. You're right with that. I get they haven't always been on the same page last season and the year before, but at least in that video, they seem to be on the same page. They seem to be on point and target. We'll see if that continues to develop. Buddy, what up, Dan and Duke Crew? What up to you, buddy? Hopefully you're having a great day, my friend. Frank the Tank, we always get gung-ho about these first-round picks and big names. The little people are what make the team run. 100%, yeah. You need everybody. And that's why I'm thinking a lot of these guys that we've been talking about that need time to develop. Jameson Williams is going to be in his third year. That's typically when a lot of guys, they either make or break their career. Ife Melifanu, Derek Barnes last year. What year were they in? Year 3. So you're probably seeing a trend here. And that's why I think with Broderick Martin, I think you're going to see a big jump from him last year. Same with Kobe Scoresdale from last year to this year to next year. Just because, again, I have a lot of belief in this coaching staff as far as developing players, something that hasn't always been the case for Detroit Lions fans. All right, Big Eddie, good morning, Duke Crew gang. Mike the Marine Gunny, I think DJ is the only one left on the list. I'm guessing Coach will have, an update. Yeah, we got into that. So, yeah, we're all on the same page. Frank Tank, same thing as last year. All I heard about is Jameson Williams. Hey, I think he had a pretty decent year last year. All things considered, to me, that's his rookie year. I get we all want them, everybody to be, Chase or Justin Jefferson or whatever. But those guys are pretty rare. What they did, most people don't do. Even look in Detroit Lions lore and history. Herman Moore, Kelvin Johnson, their rookie years weren't the biggest wins for them, but they did develop and take off shortly thereafter. Buddy, J-Mo will be a beast. I concur. Frank, he beat a rookie. I want to see how he does against Davison, Robertson, and Mosley. Yeah, agreed with that. Yeah, see how he does against better guys in time. See, Bo, subject matters. Love the deep ball by golf. Timing is everything. Yay. Start with that, man. Start with that. Frank the Tank, I agree with you, buddy, but it's just one play in shorts, man. Yep, in shorts. And, next week, Monday, they put on the pads. If he continues to do stuff like that, that's going to get us all a lot more excited. Friends, good evening, all. J-Mo deep, Sam and St. Brown middle or short. Maybe Gibbs coming out of the backfield, question mark. Can't defend them all. Hey, especially as much zone coverage as the league likes to run, if you're really going to commit Jameson Williams, not all the time, but let's say 50% of the time to deep routes, you are going to see him drag at least one safety deep with him. That's two people, maybe a third person helping out and support. So you start getting it. It becomes a math problem and a spacing problem for teams. If he's taking up the sideline or deep crossing, maybe, a corner cut or post cut over the middle, you're going to see a lot of people be able to run open against those zone defenses or man-to-man defenses too, I guess. I'd say Michael D. Great salutations, Coach and Drew Crew! Exclamation points, Super Bowl or bust, one pride. Woo, woo! And good morning to you too, my friend. Frank, thank and all everybody wants to do is throw the ball deep. There's a 50% chance the ball can get intercepted or incomplete. Yep, it could be all the above. So throw it long, throw it short, throw it to the person who's open, I say. Stephanie, good morning, boys! Exclamation point. Is anyone else ready to see even the preseason contest? I think this is our year. Steph, here's what I'll say. They built those new training camp facilities because they know everybody wants to be at Lions training camp. Everybody wants to be out there. Just watch them go through, the shorts Olympics or whatever, pajama Olympics, whatever you want to call it. Everybody is so feverish for this team. They want to see that. I have no doubt. They may not sell out all the home preseason games, but I think they're going to be pretty jam-packed. And I think, the ratings on these preseason games are going to be near an all-time high, if they're not an all-time high. All right, Frank, Super Bowl or bust for the next 5 years? Not this year. All right, fair enough. Man, Frank, I hope they are after it this year. All right, let's see, buddy. All the work that J-Mo and Goff put in the offseason will benefit the timing and routes. I agree with that. I think it's going to show up. Bo, not a lot of videos out yet. It was the first day of training camp. I don't need to see J-Mo jumping his jumping his guts on the sideline. Good stuff is good stuff. Yeah, and I don't know why he was not feeling well. I know he had a quote say, just kind of joking around. Must have been something he ate for breakfast or whatever. But wait and see. Hopefully maybe it was just nerves for him. Who knows? See, Chamara, what do you got? Green salutations, Coach. Do you think Manu and Matthew Betts make the team? Manu, yes, 1,000%. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think any of this year's rookie class is going to be put on the practice squad or anything. Is it possible somebody gets put on the IR for the year? It is, but the problem is, if you believe this person is somebody who can really come around, you can't really work with them if they're on the IR. So I think they're all going to make the 53. Matthew Betts, he's got as good a chance as anybody else. He does have some power. He does have some athleticism. He doesn't have great flexibility, in my opinion. But he's got some good tools to work with. It's an opportunity for him to win if he wants to make the 53-man roster. But as we all know, that front seven is going to be real competitive to make those spots. All right, Frank the Tank, what are we going to do if they don't win the Super Bowl this year and say it was bust? This team has not been consistent winning for the last 30 years, and we're going to have a winning record 1 year. Hey, we have, this is 2 straight years we've had winning records. Hopefully it's the third. The expectations are to challenge, but you're right, Frank. We might not make the Super Bowl this year. That's always a possibility. All right, Jess, greetings, salutations all. Damn, we have some weapons, and they are so young. They are going to develop more. We have some crazy good talent. I think you're spot on with that, Jess. This team is so young that the upside is even further up. Again, we have some of our best offensive weapons were rookies last year. What are they going to do jumping forward into year 2? What does Jameson Williams do this year? What does St. Brown do this year? They could all make further progressions upward. Don, people counted the kid out. Typically, microwave society want things ASAP. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing I can tell you I've learned in coaching is you can see talent in people, but not everybody progresses at the same time frame. Some people do take a little time to get to where ultimately they're going to go. Darcy, Matthew Betts might be something to watch next month, 100%. Preseason games, let's see what he does. Frank Tank, we already got guys talking to trade Mosley. This is not then I hear if Hooker does good, we can trade him. This is not Madden, you all. No, I don't think really, unless it's somebody who's going to get cut, that we know, hey, we're moving on from that guy. I could see some of those players being traded. I do not anticipate Hendon Hooker or Emmanuel Mosley getting traded unless somebody just makes you an offer you can't refuse. But until that happens, I tell you what, let's just go ahead and keep all that kind of noise of trade. Let's go ahead and keep that down. Jared Goff, calm him down out there. I tell you. All right, back to the comment sections. We do go. Let's see, buddy. We gave such young talent on this team. Yes, we have such young talent team. We have a very young, talented team. Keep drafting well. Keep developing well. It should stick around that way for a long time. Matthew Green Sanitations. Good morning, everyone. Superdome, Super Bowl. Woo, woo, woo. And you know what? It is Super Bowl expectations. I won't say we're bust, but it is Super Bowl expectations this year. Yes, sir. All right, buddy, yes. Frank Tank, why would we want to trade good players? I don't know if we would. And again, unless we're going to move on for them, cut them, etc., then maybe. But until then, I'd say just, keep all the talent you got. See, Trey, what's good all? ? Coach, you've talked a lot about players needing to get year 3 to really show what they're worth. Well, Jameson is now in year 3. Thoughts? I think he's going to be pretty dang good. I think he's going to be a difference maker. Is he ever going to be Tyreek Hill or somebody? No, just be Jameson Williams. Be the best version of you. And you know what? If he keeps doing what he's doing, then yeah, he's going to become a noted weapon in the NFL for the Detroit Lions for a few seasons to come. See, Bo, they are they any duty? All right, fair. All right, see where you're going. Any do crew saying trade anyone? Outside noise? Yeah, it could be, wherever he's reading that stuff. Could we make a trade? Sure. I just don't think Brad Holmes is going to be in a hurry to unload any talent. Buddy, let's go with the flow, 100%. Let's see, Frank the Tank, you all never played competitive sports in your life. An athlete does not think like this. He does not think Super Bowl or bust, and you all think it's a cliche, but it's a game-by-game, play-by-play, never. Yeah, you got to take every game one at a time. You can't put yourself in the Super Bowl if you don't win all the games prior in the playoffs. Answer 14, Green Salutations, Coach and Drew Crew. Camp time is a lot of fun. The elevated level of competition is incredible this year. When all is said and done, the Lions will be cutting guys who might start on other teams. I think you're 100% right, Answer. I think we have a very talented team that there are going to be players cut, removed from this team that could absolutely help out other NFL squads. So that's why I think if there's a trade to be made, it's some team trying to acquire those guys we know we're going to cut because they know they can't put in the waiver wire claim and realistically get them. All right, Lions fan, Green Sanitation Coach, any Jay Houston updates? Nothing specific out of the first couple days. So if there is something, you guys know I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. All right, a couple more here before we get to the man himself, Kurt Steele, Frank Tank, and they watch and then watch today. James Houston's going to make a play. Oh, let's hope so. I hope he makes a lot of plays there, Frank. Hey, Matthew, we need top tier, as many top tier quarterbacks to show up this year. Mosley is part of that plan. Why would we trade him now that we've got him healthy? Makes 0 sense. Trade him just like makes no sense. Yeah, I don't know where you guys are getting all this about the trading Hooker or Emmanuel Mosley. I just don't see it happening. But if somebody's got some ideas about it, or somebody's got some inside information, go ahead and let me know. See, Brent, good morning, everyone. J-Mo breakout season coming up, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, but how many yards and touchdowns on the ground? Now, that's a good question. Quitting, Green Sanitations, y'all. Who said J-Mo gonna be a bust? I think all of those haters gonna eat that crow this year. That dude's gonna light him up. Yeah, I think he's gonna have a pretty good year. All right, let's go ahead and make a little time now for our special guest of the day. And he's joining us from destinations unknown as we get him over onto the phone. Here we go. Kurt Steele, what up, though?
What up, though? What's going on, Dude Crew? How's it going, family, man? Glad to be here this morning.
All right, so as you could probably tell from the thumbnail, and maybe if you've been watching the comment sections run through, Jameson Williams, hey, he had some highlight reel catches yesterday, did some big things. We've all been speculating, do we get this guy a red cape and a big, gold S on his chest because he's just that kind of guy? What are your thoughts on him going into this season?
Yeah, look, man, he is maturing. He's going out there. Looks the role this year. He came in, we know what happened his rookie season with the injury, and they kind of throw him out there at, toward that, end of the season. They try to just give him some snaps, and, it's a progression. Then last year, of course, starting with the suspension, and still that timing was a little bit off, but you see how he matured at the end of the season into the playoffs. That's why I was 100% in favor of them letting Josh Reynolds walk in free agency, because I can see that writing on the wall that J-Mo was going to be poised to have a breakout season. And I'm looking at him. I'm not going to spoil it because I have that topic here coming up on my show as well. Of course, he's the big name out of Lions training camp yesterday. But you look at him, man, he's just more polished this year. You look at him in the not just that route, because we saw that big route down the field, the touchdown, that's all over lighting up social media. But you saw him in the drills. That's what I'm looking at. Look at him in the individual drills when they were, running routes. He just looks more fluid, more balanced. And I can't wait to see this young fella on the field, man. He's going to be electric. His teammates are bigging him up because they're seeing something special. He just looks different this year.
He does. He does seem like, I get a lot of Lions fans weren't happy when he got suspended at the start of last year. But let me ask you, Kurt, I mean, so many of these guys come in there, anywhere from 19 to 20. We'll just say, young 20s. How much do you think just him growing up being 23 or 24, whatever he is now, is also factoring into his development?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's people grow, they grow physically, but I think it's more for him. He's grown mentally. He wants to be professional. Excuse me, my mix up. He wants to be a better player. He's hungry. And he hears all the noise, from the fan base, and then the media, local media, calling him a bust and things of that nature. But he's taken the time, he's put in the work, and I can't wait to see him on the field, man, in the regular season. I think he's going to have a big, big role in this offense this season.
So let's talk about that offense, because we all get this team is very, very young, one of the younger teams in the NFL. But especially when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, you have, Jameson, you have Montgomery really isn't that old. Gibbs, you've got St. Brown, Laporta. How difficult do you think it's going to be for opposing defensive coordinators to keep up with the Detroit Lions offense, especially if Jameson Williams, like we're all starting to wonder, will he really make that next jump forward?
I think it's going to be hard, and it's not just because of the players. It's because of Ben Johnson and the way that he calls the games. Just because you look at it, and it kind of has that Sean McVay-esque type of feel to it, where you have multiple plays out of the same set. So the defense doesn't know what's coming at them because it looks the same, but it's a different play. It looks the same, but it's going to a different side. It looks the same, and the route tree is different for all the receivers. It looks the same as a pass, but it's a run. Right. It looks the same because it's a run and not a pass. So you look at the, and he puts his guys in a position to win. I love what he does in this offense, and I'm looking forward to see this maturation of the talent, because they've been in this system for a while. There's not a lot of guys that are, except for a few pieces that haven't been in this offense at least 1 year, except for the probably three offensive players, 3 or 4 offensive players have been in this offense only 1 year, in the second year. Most of them have been, as far as the skill players, have been in this offense for 2 to 3 years.
We talked about the offensive side, but let's dive into the defensive side real quick. Yesterday, obviously, there's a couple people out. They're not on the field, but Emmanuel Mosley, been kind of a lightning rod topic in the comment section this morning. He's the starting nickel back. This guy, the fact they've got him on the field, that would seem to tell me that he's recovered from the second ACL tear already. He's good to go. They don't seem to have any restrictions or breaks on him. If he really is healthy and comes back into play form like he was in San Francisco, how does that affect the secondary for the Detroit Lions, in your view?
This was a lightning round conversation on Boss Up Ball Out yesterday, because I took the opposite. I was like, I don't know if this guy makes the team, because I was worried about his injury. I'm worried about him coming back. Can he be back at 100%? And from what I'm reading yesterday, they took a different approach to his rehab from the second ACL tear. And they approached it with a different mindset, and they went in and made sure that he was going to be ready for the start of the season. I was so surprised that he wasn't on the NFI or PUP list. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's he's a full go first day. I mean, it wasn't any restrictions. Hey, what up though? Yeah, Flint Town, baby. But I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. If he's able to return to form, we're going to be a very formidable secondary. And that's going to push some guys out that are some fan favorites. You got Stephen Gilmore or Khalil Dorsey that may not make the team just because of the fact that you have a guy with the cachet of a Emmanuel Mosley. We know what he did out at San Francisco. I hope he can get back to that form. Because to be honest with you, before yesterday, I was hesitant about Emmanuel Mosley. I was like, I don't know, man, because I was so fixated on him not being ready for the starter camp.
If you had to guess out of the secondary who doesn't make the team right now, who's your odds-on betting favorite? 1 or 2 guys.
The guys are going to be left out of the secondary. Vildor and Gilmore.
Okay.
Vildor and Gilmore.
I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
Gonna be the odd man's out. And to be honest with you, I like Vildor. He's a good guy who can come in and rotate. I don't just think he's a starter. And I just think that long term, I just don't think he's there. Khalil Dorsey, what he offers is special teams, and that's what Vildor doesn't offer. So you may see Vildor and Gilmore on the practice squad. So
not a bad idea. Yeah, they can put one of them there. I just don't, myself, this rookie class, I've been saying all offseason, I don't think you can put any of them on the practice squad. I just think they'll get snatched up too quick. So you're going to probably, like you're alluding to, have to stash some of the veterans there. So, all right, moving on to the next topic. Jared Goff, he's got every weapon in the world for him. One of the things in last year, people have talked about maybe he couldn't quite hit the deep ball as accurately, at least with Jameson Williams. At least yesterday, and not just with the Jameson Williams throw, but it looks like some of those deep balls are a little bit more crisp on point. Is it just because they're running around in shorts and pajamas, or do you think maybe Jared Goff has developed a little bit better touch on some of those deep shots?
Well, people talk about working in the offseason. You got the guys that go to tight end university, tight end U. You got the Sack Summit. But what did Jared Goff do for the second year on the road? He worked with a quarterback guru to tighten up his game. And you see his passes are crisper. He's learned to put a little more spiral on that ball. So I'm looking at what Jared Goff did in the offseason, because he's, we see him working with St. Brown and some of those guys, but he worked with a quarterback guru to get his game a little tighter. He knows that he has weapons that's down the field, and he knows he has to get better at some of those deep shots. But he's always had a good deep ball. You look at how he played in LA. Look at that shootout he had against Patrick Mahomes when he was with the Rams. He was tossing that ball down the field a lot, especially in LA. So, he throws some crackers at some times, sends some ducks down the field, but he can get the ball there. You look at some of the throws he made last year, some tight window throws, man. Jared Goff's a better quarterback than people give him credit. So
Why do you think there's such a stigma on Goff? That at least from not all the fans, but there are. Let's be honest, there's a portion of the fan base, either in the NFL or just Detroit Lions, or maybe the Rams too, that just don't seem to like this guy.
I have no. I know why Lions fans didn't like him coming in, just because of the fact of that first season. But another reason why is that the fan base, the man crush with Matthew Stafford, man. I mean, Stafford has one of the strongest arms in the NFL. I mean, the guy can make all the throws from all the platforms, man. We all know that Jared Goff is the most physically talented quarterback, but he's smart. He can make a lot of throws. He may not have the arm angles of a Matthew Stafford or the arm strength of a Matthew Stafford, but he's a damn good quarterback. And people are coming around to him. They're warming up to him, man. And people just that he was the California kid, grew up in Cali, played in Cali, and people just kind of mistook him for soft and weak, but he's not that at all, man. He's a good leader, man, and I like what he does for this team.
All right, so next question for you. Let's go back to the defensive side of the ball, the front seven. It seems like we've got a ton of depth in the linebackers, defensive line. We've talked, you and I, the Duke crew have talked about, hey, James Houston maybe has a 1,000 sack season. Maybe Levi Onwuzurike, he can make the team and live up to his potential. DJ Reader's going to do this. Lee McNeil's going to do that. But Matthew Betts hasn't been talked about a ton. What are your expectations now that training camp's here for the Canadian assassin?
First of all, I like Matthew Betts because I knew who Matthew Betts was before he even came to the Lions. Because what do I do in the summer? I watch CFL football. Watch it all the time. Different game, very quick game. You get 3 downs to make a first down instead of 4. Wider field. They play at a very fast pace up there in Canada. And I watched what he did for the BC Lions, man. Guy's a good player. Very explosive. If he can find himself in the rotation, man, he can have a good 7-sack season for the Lions.
That would not be bad, especially if you're getting him as a rotational piece out there to do some work. All right, so now that training camp is also here, we're always going to talk about what they should or shouldn't do with the roster. Do you think Brad Holmes pulls the trigger? The comment section this morning has been all about, hey, don't trade this guy, don't trade that guy. But realistically, do you think the Lions try to acquire any more talent, or do you think they try to unload some guys that maybe they're going to ultimately cut anyways?
I think it may be the latter. You look at this team and you look at the talent they have acquired. And let me rephrase that. You look at their team they built, because there's a difference between acquiring talent and building a team. And Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have built a team. And I don't think they want to just bring in anybody who's going to mess up that culture. They don't want that. They have an identity. And if you can't get with the program, with the Lions, and what Dan Campbell and his staff are preaching and get with the program, because now, instead of really Dan Campbell being out there, he's a good mouthpiece. He's a good leader. But now he has players out there. It's a player-led team, and they hold each other accountable. So if you can't come in there and fulfill that role as a veteran, you're not going to be on this roster. So they look for guys who are who fit the culture and the scheme right. And if you don't, man, the defense, as far as are they going to add someone? I don't think so. I like the way Iffy played last year. I said people keep talking about Justin Simmons and things of that nature, but I like the way Iffy played with Kirby Joseph last year, and I like the way that you have a guy like Brian Branch who can rotate back to safety, and he can play in the nickel. Hell, he can play a little linebacker as well, and you have so much versatility. Hey guys, with this defense and this secondary. I'm just loving what's going on in Detroit right now as far as the team. I think it's going to be some guys who are going to bubble who will not be in Detroit this upcoming season. And one that comes to mind, and it keeps being on everyone's lips, and I would hate to see him go, is the commish. That's the name people are floating around as trade rumors. That's the biggest name. But we'll see. Because if Matthew Betts makes the team, who's going to be leaving? Got to be somebody.
Somebody, for somebody to stay, somebody else has got to go. That's the hard part in reality of any pro sports league is, usually a certain percentage of the roster is going to turn over from year to year just because you have rookies coming in and signings. But all right, Kurt, I know you've got a short time here to get ready for yours. So why don't you go ahead and give everybody a shout out, tell them where to go, tell them how to find you, tell them all about yourself.
All right, you can find me over at the Boss Up Ball Out podcast or at Curtis Steele 14 over on Twitter or X. You can go to my Facebook page, Kurt Steele. The content is always posted on there. You can go to kurtsteele.com. I'm always posting content over there as well. And today I have a special guest coming on with me, man. It's Avery Giovanni from the Spirit of Detroit podcast will be on this morning. We're going to chop it up, man. We're going to be talking Lions training camp as well. Great first day. We're going to discuss a lot of stuff we talked about. You guys talked about here. We're going to continue that conversation over on the Boss Up Ball Out podcast this morning. So come on over, man. We live at 8:00.
All right. Well, thanks for hopping on the show today. Thanks for giving us your wisdom and insight as always. So everybody hop on over when the show is over. Go check out the Boss Up Ball Out podcast. Hang out with Kurt Steele and his crew for a little bit. Check it on out. So, Kurt, we'll see you in about 14 minutes.
Yes, sir. Hey,
all right.
Take it easy, dude.
Thanks for hopping on, man. All right. Again, thank you, Kurt Steele, for always, making a little time out of his day to come over and join the Duke crew. So let's get back to the comments section, wrap up today's show before you guys head on out over there. So again, make sure you go and check out the Boss Up Ball Out podcast. Give him a thumbs up. Give him a subscribe. Maybe hang out with him for a little bit of time. Miles, good point, Dennis. Let's see. Moonscar, how do y'all think the transfer portal has affected the quality of players coming out of college? The quality of players, I think ultimately it's about the same, but yes, players do have, I guess you'd say, a little bit more freedom to switch systems or switch schools or colleges, just like coaches used to. You'd sign a kid, they would come in, they'd be committed for 4 years, you go up and take a job somewhere else. Well, now those players have an opportunity to do basically the same thing. It has changed the game. A lot of my friends who are still college coaches at the D1 level, they talk to me all the time about how it's affected things, what you have to do from a schematic standpoint. You got to basically keep people happy. Otherwise, those people aren't going to be around very long. So it's a different game than what most of us are used to, but it's probably going to evolve some more. I think for the sports and playoffs, I think there could be some good things for football. And I know most of you have already heard about it, where they're going to set up multiple different fields or leagues or divisions for the college football playoffs. I could see it where the day is coming where the NCAA tournament for basketball could be changed just a little bit. Maybe the NIA becomes a little bit more prevalent, and maybe a third option also develops. We'll have to wait and see. Phil, there's nothing to forgive, 100%. Doug, in their mind, not mine. All right, fair enough. Dennis, I think he'll be a benefit from Josh Reynolds leaving. Yeah, it'll be probably a little bit more opportunities for him, 100%. Phil, Lions have the Super Bowl of medical staff. That might be true. They've got a dang good medical staff. See, Bo, Phil, right, ain't no thing. Hardly a criminal type, just a young man finding his way. Yeah, 100%. If I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming you guys are talking about Jameson Williams in the betting thing. Hey, I don't know about you guys. I know a ton of people who do it. His only situation was that he was too close to the actual Lions training facility when placing that bet. I mean, at the end of the day, if that's the worst he's done, it's at least in my opinion, it's not that bad a thing. Yes, I think the NFL, they've got to stand firm on those policies. Yes, they also have to do a better job of educating the players about it, because let's also be fair and remember, when that ruling came down, not just about Jameson Williams, but all the players who got caught in that, a lot of players across the league, a lot of the coaches, and even some of the people from the NFL front offices said they were not aware of all the rules. So I think the NFL looked back at that and said, all right, we need to try to make some of this right. Some of the guys like Jameson who were suspended for not betting on NFL games, they reduced those sentences. And if you notice the following year, this past year, they did a lot more as far as educating current and incoming players regarding those rules. I think the NFL understood they kind of dropped the ball a little bit on it because, again, if nobody knows the rule, it's hard for them to implement the rule. So I don't know. go from there. And, if nothing else, hopefully Jameson Williams learned from it. Say Doug, Bo, exactly. Dennis, yep. Kneecaps, Goff should benefit, exclamation point. Not having that security blanket anymore. Now he has to build chemistry with everyone. Yeah, I'll go with that. And him and Josh Reynolds clearly had, some chemistry there. But now it's time to move on. Phil, how many of us at 20 years old were smart all the time? I can tell you this, man. At 2021, heck, 30-something, I still made some boneheaded decisions. You know what? I'm probably going to make some more in my life. That's part of life, right? Kneecaps, none of us. Yep. Dennis, yep. Bo, let's not talk about it. There we go. Moonscarf, none. Phil, will Houston stay on this team? I think so. After this year, though, that's where it will get tricky. If he really does have a strong season like he did his rookie year, Lions are going to have to pay him, or he's probably getting paid by somebody else. And, we'll deal with that after the season. But I don't foresee them trading him this upcoming season. What he can do is just too valuable, in my opinion. Kneecaps, what do you got? I paid good money for that hypnotist to erase the drops of the 2018 Super Bowl. There you go. That could be. Dennis, yes. Doug, I'm loving the physical transformation of Broderick Martin. Woo, woo! And yeah, he's put in a ton of time and work. I think last year he probably had his eyes, bursted wide open how different the NFL game was from where he was in college. He's learned from it. He's developed. And yes, I think the Lions are going to hit another home run with a mid to late round draft pick. Dennis, big boy, yes, he is. August, what do you got? Campbell seems frustrated in his media talk yesterday. I think probably some of it could be just, getting repetitive questions some of the time. It would be ideal for people to come up with some new topics at times, but it's not always easy. Sometimes you have to, if you didn't really prepare as a reporter, you get into the media session room, you have maybe a list of questions, and somebody else asks basically the same question you were going to when you got your opportunity. Yeah, I could see where that would get old. Let's see, Dennis, he's going to eat 100%. Kneecap biting. Can anyone name the only quarterback with 7 years in the league without throwing a pick six? No, I cannot, to be honest. Let's see, Phil, time to change your picture. Trump, a genius. Well, I'll leave that to him. Phil, Dan did kind of walk out of the presser yesterday. Yeah, I knew we were going with that, Phil. He did, man, but hey, it is what it is. Sometimes we all have, buttons that get pushed. You want to get out of there. And, pressers, if you've never gone through them, man, especially after a big loss, and that's not applicable yesterday, it can get frustrating. You're not always at your best. And anybody who's watched sports long enough has probably seen some coach meltdown or whatever up there. But again, in regards to yesterday, I just think he was tired of some of the repetitive questions. See, Brent, $5 on JMO to win Offensive Player of the Year, wins $2K. Well, hey, that'd be $5 well spent. See, Phil Stafford throws a great pick six. He's thrown one or two in his time. He has. Dennis laughing out loud. Kneecaps, the answer to my question will surprise you. I'm ready for that, so throw it out there, man. Moonscar, I was with Goff day one. Statistically, he was pretty on par with the point in his career with Stafford was at the same point in his career. Neither guy really had the ability to extended play. Yeah, when the trade went down, Moonscar, that's where I would agree with you. I just didn't see a massive difference. There were some physical differences, but at the end of the day, their quarterback play I didn't think was very different. All right, Moonscar, Kneecap. No, I cannot name that quarterback. Kneecap, let's see, laughing. See, Dennis, Kneecap, don't know. Mitch Trubisky. Are you kidding me? Mitch Trubisky is not throwing a pick six? I got it, man. I'm impressed if that's the case. Let's see, Miles Marker. When I live in Northwest Ontario, watch CFL, Grey Cup, Coupe Grey. It was fun, different, but fun. Yeah, it's been a few years since I've watched the Canadian game, but it is, like Kurt Steele pointed out, it is a very fast-paced game, and I like it because it works for me. Bo, bated breath here. Who is it? He said Mitch Trubisky. Brain fart, said Dennis. Mitch, no. Kneecaps. Yep, with over 70 games started, he hasn't thrown a pick six in his career. That's impressive. August, Trubisky has thrown 13 picks, but not a pick six. None of those were taking him for a touchdown. Bo, pick six versus pick. All right. Dennis Goff, Moonscar, Mr. Kneecap at the back blackboard. Pay attention, class. There you go. August, 48 interceptions. My bad, wrong count. It happens, man. It happens. Dennis, laughing out loud. Bo, Will Avery be broadcasting from an undisclosed location? That I do not know. Kneecaps, I did not say he didn't throw a pick. That would be ludicrous. It would be. See, Mike the Marine, thumbs up for Lions Talk Live. Yes, if you haven't yet subscribed or hit the thumbs up button, please consider doing so. Kneecap, 1,000%. I hit the like on the way into the chat. Hey, thanks for that. Great crew. Yes, it is. We got a great crew with the Do Crew. T-Bones, the camp video shows that J-Mo can catch with his hands and already impressed me on a per touch basis. And because of all of our weapons, I can't put a stats figure on his success. No, I think he's going to do a lot of good things. We already know, I think most of the Lions fan base, he blocks incredibly well. So let's hope he keeps developing. All right, see, August, I'm nearing 50 and I still sometimes can't look myself in the mirror. Yeah, hey, man, that's part of life. We all make mistakes. There's just no way around it. It's just part of... here's my view on mistakes. It's a mistake if you don't learn from it, if you keep repeating it. Otherwise, it's a learning opportunity. All right, Miles laughing out loud, August. All right, fair enough. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, wrap up the show, let you guys all, for those who want, hop on over to the Boss Up, Ball Out podcast. Go support Kurt Steele and his crew. So thank you all for tuning in today. If there is some breaking news, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. Otherwise, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that push for 7,100 subs. We're about 70-some subs away from that. Also, before you leave, if you could hit the thumbs up, that'd be great. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.